Do you? Yes, you. Know anyone that knows another language?
According to Google, the average person knows half of a language. I don't know what that means.
A ship shipping ship, ships shipping ships.
Okay, maybe I do know what that means now.
Big brain.
Anyway, I always thought it would be cool to learn a second language, but I never had an incentive. I started to learn Spanish a while back, but got busy and ended up brushing it under the rug.
Clear.
So I decided, what better thing to do than to drive myself insane learning another language?
And to make things even more challenging,
I decided I wanted to become fluent in Spanish, but according to Google, it takes somewhere between 3 months and 2 years to become fluent in a second language. However, with a wife and kids, it can be difficult to delegate 3 months to 2 years of time to learn a language.
not that that applies to me, as I don't have kids or a wife or a girlfriend.
But if I did, I wouldn't have time. So I thought, can I become fluent in Spanish within a week?
And once this week is up, yours truly will be testing his knowledge
With a test from the CEFR and ACTFL, whatever that stands for. Now, if I was actually going to make this happen, I did not have any time to waste. I quickly laid out a 5-step plan in order to become fluent in Spanish within a week. Without an hour to waste, I quickly began channeling what young blood Josh could remember from his experiences with Spanish from middle school, high school, and undergrad.
What do you remember?
And I began reviewing immediately.
Potato is papa. Yes, sir.
And it quickly became apparent that I had an uphill battle ahead of me.
And why? Great.
I decided that maybe I could look in my old Spanish notebooks from college, until I realized the last time I took a Spanish course was in 2015, and I thought at that time I would never need that material again, so I threw it away.
Nice.
So I decided to go back to the drawing board and find a list of the most common words used in Spanish, in hopes that I would begin to get the gears turning. And from there I could start building off that and begin to learn new material. And I went to Google and searched for exactly that. Then I decided to start writing all of these words down on note cards, until I realized that was one of the dumbest ideas I have ever had.
Idiot.
So instead I copy and pasted all of these words into a spreadsheet. At first I began making a lot of progress after a couple hours of studying. Over the first couple of days I could already feel a lot of Spanish coming back to me. And by day 3 I was already at the point where I could speak basic sentences in Spanish again.
Me llamo Josh.
Unfortunately, this momentum would not last. I began to run into a lot of words that I had never learned. At the end of day 3, I had just about maxed out my Spanish knowledge and needed to continue learning the rest of the language. Despite my exhaustion and irritability, I continued on with the quest to become fluent in Spanish. I memorized word after word. As I learned more and more words in the Spanish language, I became more confident.
Genius.
Although I really did not have any reason to be. By the end of day 4, I had had enough. I was ready to wash my eyes out with fantastic and call it a day, which meant it was time to move on to step 3, procrastinating.
You see, when you're guarding him, you get to have a ton of weight on him. You got to get your hands on Tyreek Hill. But why are you not scared of a deep throw here? Because right on top of you, like he's had throughout his career.
Okay, that completes step 3. I moved on to step 4 and decided to ask someone with experience about learning a second language, but I needed a spark to build momentum. So I decided to text someone who I knew had the size of a peanut for a brain and definitely would not have any helpful advice.
Text Nick Wright. How did you learn Spanish?
As I suspected, Nick was absolutely no help whatsoever. So I decided it was time for the final step as we entered day 5, suck it up and do the work. I started looking online for different ways to learn Spanish, until I came across Duolingo and realized how stupid I had been this entire time, as I had used Duolingo in the past. With only 2 days left until my test, I decided it was time to dive right in. I spent hours on studying and learning as much Spanish as I possibly could. I even began watching my TV shows in Spanish with subtitles on so I could completely drown myself in the language.
Mírenla, con ropa delgada y con este frío.
As the hours passed, Duolingo proved to be a helpful tool that was something I wish I had used from the beginning. It really broke things down extremely simply for me and was a huge help in me getting this far. And finally, the time had come. After a week of studying and trying a number of different methods, it was time to attempt to pass a test from the CEFR and ACTFL. But before we could get underway with these tests, it wouldn't be a true challenge unless we suffered another setback.
So I just logged into my computer and was about to take the Spanish test from the CEFR and ACTFL. But, well, we kind of sort of ran into a little bit of a problem. I thought you could take these tests for free online, but unfortunately you have to pay money and schedule to take the tests.
As I sat and thought about how to go about this, I debated purchasing the test for listening and reading to test my knowledge. I thought I did say I was going to do this in this video, and I really did want to take these tests, but I decided if I was going to spend the money on these tests, I would have wanted to study Spanish for a longer period of time than I did, not just a week. So I came up with an alternative.
So after some discussion with the community, aka me and only me, we decided to take a Spanish placement test from Legalia.
Legalia is a website that specializes in the Spanish language. They have a number of Spanish courses, lessons, exercises, and more. And most importantly, they offer an online placement exam for free. The test itself should take about 30 minutes to complete, and there are a total of 20 questions mixed between grammar, reading, and listening.
I found myself kind of struggling through this exam. There were a lot of questions I really had to think through and really had to use context clues in order to understand what the question was even saying. Never mind come up with an answer. And there were some questions I didn't even understand exactly what it was asking. And the exam doesn't really give you a grade. It kind of just recommends what Spanish course you should take next. And after completing the exam, I came back with a recommendation of Spanish A1, which is Spanish for beginners. I really thought after studying Spanish for a week, I'd be able to read a lot of Spanish, discuss a lot of Spanish, and just understand conversations in Spanish Spanish, at least at a decent level. I was wrong.
Congratulations, you played yourself.
So that did in fact answer the question of whether you can learn Spanish in a week with a big fat no. But that's okay because I believe personally the best way to learn is to fail.
Will I continue to learn Spanish? I mean, probably not. I just don't see it having a huge value in my day-to-day life. And I feel like it's one of those things, if you don't use it, you lose it.
While traveling to Spain and learning everything about the Spanish language might not be overly exciting for myself or you, there are a number of new challenges that I have planned to try on this channel that will be. So thank you all for watching. If you've gotten to this point in the video, make sure to like and subscribe because this video did take me about 2 months to make with all the setbacks. And if you did not make it to this point in the video, I hope your luggage gets lost on your next flight. Bye!